Concepts are very important in human life. It's part of our conscious awareness of the world. It's how our minds work, how our rational consciousness works. All animals have perception. Some animals, it's pretty windy, so the phone's moving a little bit. Some animals have some preconceptual awareness. You know, crows, chimpanzees, dolphins, elephants have a type of consciousness that we don't fully understand yet. We've still got to do a lot of research. Human beings, we have a rational consciousness. And a part of how that works, part of how it functions, a part of its nature is concepts. So we need to understand a little bit about concept formation. When that goes wrong, then our consciousness goes wrong, our awareness goes wrong, then we act wrong. You know, it could cause frustration, damage, pain. On the other hand, could cause, if we're good, happiness, success, helping out friends, picking correct friends, being successful at work instead of having bad ideas and failing at work and hurting people. So we want to make sure we're forming good concepts so we can use them right. We can't use them right unless we form them in the first place. One thing we need to grasp about concepts is that similarity and difference is essential to them. If you think about concepts and you really look at how we form them, it's always in a context. So we don't look at dogs in isolation from everything else. There's just dogness, and we just identify that. It's always this certain thing, dog, in contrast to other things. The living and the inanimate, you know, it's in contrast to rocks and water, as well as trees and raccoons and cats and worms and birds. You know, that's the broader background we implicitly have. Of course, the more immediate experience is to look at dog in contrast to cat and person and squirrel, because they're more directly related. And there you see we're implicitly talking about similarity and difference. So you see how we have all these things that look alike, and we see the similarity, and so we think, okay, these are all dogs. We classify all these individual real things as dogs. And notice that's in contrast to other stuff, so we got this difference. These things are similar in this background of differences, a difference with cats and squirrels and people and worms and birds, and then this broader context of difference of trees and plants and grass, and then this broader context of rock and dirt and sun and moon, things like that. So this is a key thing to see, and we need to take that into account when we're teaching. So for example, when we're talking about real numbers to people who have not learned complex numbers yet, that doesn't even make sense. I mean, numbers are numbers in that context. There's no differentia, no difference between so-called real numbers and anything else. So why make the difference? Because you're using a difference you know about that makes no sense to someone on a lower level. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't learn that way. We shouldn't think that way. We shouldn't teach that way. We need, you know, if we're gonna like talk about real numbers at a certain level and then talk about, well, later on we'll learn that x squared equals -1, and you'll learn this stuff, don't worry about it now, but that's why we call them real numbers. But generally, we shouldn't even introduce the concept, just call them numbers. Rational we can understand because we got numbers that are ratios, like 3/4 or 11/-10, versus pi or e, some other things. Pi or square root of 2 we cannot write as a ratio of integers. So we clearly got some numbers that are ratio numbers, some that are not. So we can have rational and irrational, not rational. We know whole numbers, natural numbers, integers, those are clear to understand, and they can be within a student's context. So those can be and should be taught when the student's ready for it, when they can see the things that are similar versus things that are different. Then they can form the concept. Similar things with Newton's laws, gravitation. We should make sure that students know the individual things in the world, concrete, real things that they can differentiate from some other things that are similar before they make a concept. Just as they can see, they've experienced with different plants and trees, so they can go, oh, this is an oak tree versus these others. But if all they've learned is oak tree and they know no other trees, you can't make a distinction between, you can't really call it oak tree because it's just a tree. Or oak tree, they'll think that is everything like that. Just as a lot of kids make a mistake about mom, dad, yesterday, tomorrow when they're younger. They don't have the broader context to understand the concept. So let's look at similarities and differences when we're teaching, learning, thinking. It's a very important part of forming concepts and driving the concept formation process, and that's important so we have good formed ideas so we can act better, achieve happiness and success, and help ourselves and our friends and those we love, not cause harm or injury, pain, destruction. You know, it's a tool of our conscious and awareness and part of how we think and act and move through the world, so it's really important. Hope this helps. If you have any comments or questions, let me know, and hope you have a good day. Thanks for watching.